YouTube. We are going to do a DSMX setup for the Mobula 7, the wonderful Mobula 7HD that, if you've enjoyed any of the footage, is just absolutely stellar. Wade's plugged it into the computer. We have yet to hit connect, but we're going to hit connect. And because there's a shortage of DMX setup videos, Wade's going to basically be a flying buddy, walk me through and get me a little smarter in beta flight. So basically you get to sit at home on the couch, have your coffee, and watch my buddy try to teach me beta flight and set my Mobula up for me. Now I'll let you know, on a little spoiler alert, I have another Mobula. He already set it up without me really paying attention, but I copied the model. So a lot of the initial setup will be done, but Wade will then quickly walk you through the power battery configuration and all the stuff that needs to be turned off. Tons of telemetry you just don't need because you're not flying much farther than the wishing well in the back of your yard. So thanks for doing that, Wade. I'm going to pay attention, I promise, and I might ask a few questions. We're all connected up. Let's begin to do it and set it up to my DX6E. Thank you.
That's right, Tom. All right, yeah, this is the first part, and it's probably the most necessary part, because if you don't hook up the receiver to receive this
and bind it to the radio,
it doesn't know it has a transmitter taking care of it, and therefore it won't do anything for you. So the first part of the whole setup process is getting into the CLI and typing in a couple of easy commands, and you can have this thing talking to the radio in no time at all. So the command is set space Spektrum underscore sat SAT underscore bind space equals space, and in our case it's 9, but in other DSMX radio, Spektrum radios, it can be another number. I think it's 4, but you better check your documentation. For most that I know, it's 9. So ours is 9, and then you hit enter. And right here it says Spektrum sat bind set to 9. Now if you misspell any of this, it will just kick back, it'll give you an error, and what you've done is then not put spelled right or what have you. But it's, other than that, that's what you're going to do.
99 times out of 100, when it gives you an error, you're not spelled right.
You just haven't spelled it right.
So now we're set to bind.
Now we're set to bind, and now we have to type save. If you forget this, it'll just forget this command. So now it's saving, and it jumped back into beta flight, and you can see it's up and running here, but it's not flashing, and the reason why is because we haven't unpowered the unit and powered it back up yet.
So what force it into bind mode, yes.
That's right. So we're going to disconnect beta flight. It's disconnected. We're going to unplug it, and I usually use the USB connection on the front of the computer.
Save the port on the quad, yeah.
The connector on the quad, especially if you're doing this multiple times.
Yes.
You know, it's just a lot easier to reach that one. So I replugged it in, and automatically kicked back in, and it's flashing really quickly down here on the little red receiver. You can see it inside the Mobula 7.
Indicating bind mode. I've created another model because that's about my skill set. I copied it and named it number 2 because it's my number 2 Mobula HD, just like Austin Powers and Dr. Evelyn number 2. So I'm ready to hit bind when Wade tells me. I'll move away because you don't want to be too close.
That's right, Tom. You don't want to be too close to it, and you can hit bind anytime now.
Hitting the bind button! It says it's binding.
Yep, and you can see it starts flashing slower, and then it goes solid, and it should be bound.
It is.
All right, very cool. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go back to the CLI, because now every time you restart it, though, it reads the CLI first, and it's going to go back into bind mode. So we have to set that back to where it was before.
And I bet a lot of people make that mistake and go, it works, fire a battery up and start flying. But Wade, show us what to do.
Yeah, in this case what you want to do is go set space Spektrum.
Same command, just change the number.
Underscore sat bind, sat underscore bind, space equals space, 0.
0.
Enter. Now it's set to 0. Now we have to remember to save it every time.
Save.
Save. Enter. Saved. And we are back to good here.
And we can check out the other stuff.
We can check out all our other stuff. You can see the quads hooked up and running in beta flight. And We have nothing else in here to look at. Let's go to the ports. That's always preset in Mobula 7 anyway. And we are set up for this radio because it came as a DSMX Mobula 7. We're going to look at the battery warning voltages. Minimum cell voltage, usually on a whoop, I'd say about a 3.1 to a 3. I wouldn't run below 3. Maximum cell voltage, because you can have a high volt battery in this, I always go up to 4.5. Warning voltage, usually for me about a 3.1. And that's about where we go here. Yeah, I don't bother with the voltage meter or amperage meter. I don't even know if they're connected. Right now we don't have a battery connected. We don't need one for this part. We just hit save. We're all good. Okay.
Excellent.
Power and battery. Fail safe. I mean, it's always set to drop. Stage 2, that's what you want. That's it. I don't even worry about the rest. This is not going to be a far away quad.
Remember, you guys at home sipping your coffee on the couch, we're setting up this radio to the Mobula 7HD Cinewhoop type quad. So
yeah, it's not meant for a long range quad or anything close to it. So because I didn't change any of these settings, I haven't hit save. But anytime you do change a setting, you have to hit save. These are your PID settings. Good luck. If you want to change them, just go research it.
Don't do it.
I wouldn't bother. For me, it's just not worth it. But for a lot of people, that's where they like
check
to
the
mess
receiver
around.
tab here. Throttle.
So now we're going to check that.
Throttle. Yaw.
This is very important
Pitch.
that it.
Roll.
And if you notice, all of these are going from 1,000 to 2,000.
Auxiliaries.
And on your switches,
there's one there, and
as you can see, your switches are going to your ranges that you need. Alright, there is going to be a separate video on how all this was set up to begin with.
because I'm cheating and I copied the model, so otherwise you'd have to go in and tweak everything, but it looks like it's
all
pretty
tweaked
well
up and
perfect,
working
yes.
really well. Your stick threshold, you might change that if you're low stick. I usually would change this to about a 1040, 1030. Easy enough to do just with the down arrow. And that just means your throttle will start closer to where your throttle really starts. So you have very little stick travel before your throttle starts working.
Yes.
Okay, RC deadband, I always set this to at least 3. That gives you a little bit of less play. If your sticks aren't brand new, then you might have a little more play in them.
Which is the case with mine, I gotta say.
Right. So you want a little bit of, basically a deadband gives you, makes up for that little bit of play. And that's usually about as far as I go in this page. Preview, you can see Tom go ahead and move some controls around. Okay, so your quad's moving all over the place. That means this is all hooked in. And you can see on here you have a graph of you moving all your controls. Either way, let's just hit save on that. So EEPROM save, we can move on. Sound good?
Moving on.
Okay, modes, moving on to the modes. Now, you can show here, hit your arm button. It won't arm because it's sitting on the desk plugged in. Thankfully, Betafly's bit. And then you can hit your...
I gotta remember which one is my arm button. Oh.
It's the other one, your aux 1. So go ahead and flip your aux 1, whatever that one that is. That one there?
Yeah.
That's your arm.
I found it.
Now, are you disarmed right there, or are you armed?
Armed. It's towards me.
Okay, so that should be armed. So you move the slider over, put it to, well, it doesn't really matter because it's a 2-position switch. One position works, one doesn't.
Yep.
Okay, now you want it in angle range all the time.
I'm just gonna fly angle for now, Wade. Play it safe.
So what we're gonna do is whatever position your aux 2 is in, okay, it is going to be, this mode we don't need because your only mode you're going to use is going to be angle. Now you may be flipping the switch and noticing things aren't moving here yet.
I am.
There's a reason for that. We haven't hit save yet. So
hit
right
save.
now it doesn't understand what's going on. So I'm going to hit save.
Hitting save.
And now you can see angle mode's on. Now hit your arm button. It won't arm, and that's because it's plugged in on the desk and it's smart enough to know better. But otherwise it would be arming. Okay, so let's go down the rest of these. Most of these you are not going to use.
And I notice when I move my angle mode switch, that little cursor thing moves.
That's right. This is showing you your switch position and where it turns on. The yellow means it's on. The gray means this is the area where it would be switched off. So for your arm and disarm, those are the switch positions you like.
Got it.
There you go. Now if you had different modes, of course, these would just be park bars. There's plenty of videos on Betaflight about this part.
Cool. Yes.
Most of this stuff, again, is not really needed for a quad like this. Most of this other stuff does not apply, or you're not going to use turtle mode, and you have no reason for all the rest of this stuff. Pre-army you could use if you wanted it, but you're pretty careful about the way you fly anyway, and you're not used to pre-arm. I don't think it would be much help. I hit save one more time, we move on. Adjustments, none of this has any bearing on what we're doing here. Servos, same thing. Motors, same thing. The motors come preset and ready to go. Your OSD is the next thing we got to look at.
Move things around.
Look at what your screen would look like if you just left this alone. You wouldn't even be able to see what you were doing.
So now we're going to put things where I would like them.
That's right. So first of all, we turn off the logo because
Yep.
nobody has that on.
Yep. No.
All right. So RSSI value, we don't need that. Main battery voltage, we want that.
Of
Crosshairs,
course. No crosshairs.
no crosshairs. Timer,
Nope.
no timers.
Timer 2 it says though.
Yeah, you want timer 1 though usually,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
On time. Okay. Fly mode, the mode you're in, you don't have any fly mode. You're doing
yeah.
angle.
Yeah, I just have
There's
one.
no point in having that on.
Craft.
Craft name you do one on
Yep.
usually.
Mm-hmm. No throttle position.
You don't need throttle position. Current draw. Any
Uh,
interest in that?
I don't think so. I just my critical battery is all I ever really
Yeah.
want.
Your battery voltage is usually what I want to see.
Yeah.
Armed or disarmed?
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Disarmed you should have there
Yeah,
so that in
yeah,
the goggles
yeah,
it
yeah,
shows
yeah.
that
I have
it's
it up,
disarmed.
yeah. Absolutely,
Right?
yes.
And you should also have warnings clicked on.
Perfect.
Because all warnings does
Sure.
is just give you a visual flash. If your battery's critically low, it's kind of nice to get it right in your face.
Darn right.
Okay, so here's your voltage. Where do you want it?
Everything to the corners as far as possible. That's still, it's, you can see it.
Okay, left or right on your voltage?
That's good.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay, here's your on time.
I
Good
think
there.
a little farther, but not much. Just a tweak farther to the corner.
Somewhere
Yeah,
like that.
perfect.
Down a little bit, maybe.
Maybe a bit, yeah.
Let's see, right about.
I got a new mouse for you there too. It didn't move. Oh yeah.
No, well, it only has so many positions, right? It's not exactly.
Well, right there then.
You can go there. Just a minute. Mobula 7.2 and
Far
this
down to left as you can.
left.
Yeah. I don't care if I even can't see it. Even farther down. Right to the bottom. I bet you I'll be able to see it on my screen. Yep. It'll be a good experiment to see if I can see. Oh, it won't,
Yeah,
it won't go there?
It might. Let me try one more time. No. Oh yeah, there you go. And then this is the disarm.
Same deal. Far right as far as you can go.
All
I
right.
have a really big box goggle screen, I think. Yep, perfect.
And then your warnings should be basically very visible. They're not going to be
Yes.
on most of the time, so
No.
you're not going to see these. But when they do flash, you should be kind of in your face.
Sure, that's fine.
Telling you you're just about to totally kill one of your pets.
That's I don't want to do that. That's good right there.
Okay, so that looks good. You're
Looks
happy
good.
with that?
Yep.
All right, and then we have to go over here. Warnings. You're not going to be using crash flip mode.
Nope.
Arming disabled. We'll leave that on because it's always good to see if you mess something up. All these are good. And we'll go with that. Max speed, no, it doesn't have a speed. Minimum battery, that's good. RSSI, we don't care about that. Max current, use milliamp hours, we'll try that. Black box you don't use. We'll switch those two off.
Time to save.
Time to save, and we're getting down the list. OSD settings saved,
Perfect.
and then we move on. We don't have sensors. We don't have tethered logging, we don't use black box, and we've already used CLI.
Yep.
Everything else here is good to go. Let's go to our setup one more time. quad is responding just like it should.
It's almost time to. It's almost time to put a battery in.
It is not almost time. It is time to put a
Ooh.
battery in it and see if it will arm. Now that is the sound of success.